All right, so just to kind of before I ended the last video, I didn't want us to get cut out. So yeah, I just think he's a better leader in battle. I think he's been more of an inspiration for Portugal than what Messi has been for Argentina. And I think Messi's been sent off more for Argentina as well. And I don't think the Argentinians have particularly liked him. I don't think he's got a great reputation in Argentina, considering what Ronaldo's reputation in Portugal is. Uh, I think Ronaldo does a lot more for charity. People like to slate Ronaldo, but he does a hell of a lot for charity. I think if you Googled him, you'd see so much what work he does for charity. Ronaldo's got more goals for Portugal by a country mile. I think he's got 99 now, and he's on the verge. Messi, on the other, and bear in mind, you have to remember that Ronaldo he's had to adapt as he's got older. So at United, he was playing as a winger, still scoring 42 goals, and now he's a centre forward pretty much.
Yeah,
he's adapted so much. Whereas I don't think Messi will adapt as well, playing it in his role to I don't know where he'd play. Compare and still get the numbers like Ronaldo. So that's another reason. Another reason, inspirational. I think he lost his father whilst playing at United. I think his dad died of liver disease or something when he was really young at Man United. And Ferguson basically said to him, have as much time as you want off, family comes first. And Ronaldo always refers that back to United and Sir Alex and says he's always grateful for that. So I think that's been an inspiration for Ronaldo. You'll like this one and you might laugh at this. Cristiano doesn't get managers sacked, right? Now you always hear at Barcelona that Messi's not happy with the formation, or Messi's not happy with the manager, or Messi this, or you never hear, Ronaldo got Ancelotti sacked, because he didn't. He loved him. Ronaldo got blah 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 sacked. You never hear that, but you always hear Messi and I don't know who else. Messi and Suarez not happy at Barcelona, or blah blah blah. And I think Messi, I can't stand Messi if I'm honest. I think he's a foul-mouthed little rat. There's been a few times he's kind of been quite offensive, and he's been fined in La Liga over his mouth. And I just don't think he doesn't get the criticism that Ronaldo gets. And I think if you just Google Messi rants, you'll have hundreds of times Messi's having a go at players, but swearing at players and stuff. And I don't know how he gets away with it, to be honest. I just think and then the last point, he's just a machine, isn't he? He just keeps himself physically fit. He's just honestly, I'm 29 and he looks younger than me, and I just wish I had the body, and I wish I had the body like him. And I wish I had the determination like him, because he's just a machine, isn't he?
Yeah. Actually, looking about this, interesting fact: Ronaldo's only got 8% body fat overall, and the average human has about 20, 25.
Thanks for that, Dr. Reese.
So considering, it was just a random fact that I saw as you were ranting on about Cristiano Ronaldo for the last half hour.
Mate,
last video.
You're happy to jump in if you want to about Ronaldo or Messi.
Might do a little bit more research, but
oh my god,
yeah, no. I'm glad we all agree, and we've all got kind of like the same-ish kind of points. I think you've done Messi a little bit of a disservice. I think personally, like, I get he's probably like I know the things we were saying about the managers, and he's not the same leader as Ronaldo is, but he's a completely different player. I think if you look at that Barcelona team, you take him out of it, for what they've won, he has pretty much won it for them, and I don't think you can take that away from him.
Yeah, I get that. I get that, but then I wouldn't agree with that point from the years between 2009 to 12, because you had Iniesta, Xavi, Pedro, Neymar.
Yeah, but he was playing.
Suarez.
That's the thing. He's played in good teams and he's played in not so good teams. And I think, and he constantly, his stats are constantly up there. I know it's only in La Liga, but he is constantly pledging out the numbers.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but why don't you stick Neymar in Inter's team and see if he churns out the same numbers in Serie A?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do anything. You could put Messi in League Two and see if he does it.
Well,
Probably
yeah,
would.
exactly.
Probably treble his numbers. But I think the stuff you said about like off the pitch, I get. But for me, it doesn't come into the debate of who's the better player, in my opinion. Obviously, it's like really tragic about Ronaldo's dad, and like obviously it makes him probably the person he is because of all that stuff he probably had to go through. But yeah, it's a lot closer than we've made it sound in my head. Like it's not something which I could easily be persuaded by someone who told me more about Messi.
I'm not taking anything away from Messi. What I'm saying is, I think he's the better footballer, Ronaldo, because he's had to adapt numerous times.
Yeah.
He's played in 3 seasons. The mentality is obviously better because he's won everything at United, and he's obviously thought, I need a new challenge. So he's gone to Real Madrid. He's won everything there. He's obviously thought, I need a new challenge now to challenge myself. And now he's gone to Italy. So I think the mentality is better. I think what he's done for Portugal, you can't argue. And also,
but it's tricky as well because Portugal weren't to Argentina before. Like they won the World Cups before he probably played, right? I don't know when they won it, but Ronaldo's gone into a country's like his international team when they've won absolutely nothing. So
yeah, but you could
it's slightly different, but
you could flip that and say Ronaldo had all the pressure on him because he was the only superstar.
Yeah, but that's what I said.
Yeah, in a way,
thing. I said that as a good thing. Like he's more of a carrier in his international team, 100%.
I think if Messi had the same numbers or even better, and had also gone to 3 different leagues, then I would be like, I would still sway with Ronaldo because I'm biased and his United connections, but it would be harder to argue. Is my argument.
No, I completely agree. And I think what you said about like new challenge and moving on and stuff, I get the point, but at the same time, like someone like Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard stayed at the same club for their whole careers, and you never hear like a Liverpool fan say like, or well, anyone else say, "Oh, it would have been nice to see him play anywhere else." You know, if you know what I'm saying. So
yeah, I get that, but then let's be honest, they weren't the best players in the world.
No, of course, but Ronaldo was playing in a title-winning team. If he would have stayed, would they have won the title the 4th time? Yeah. Most likely. So, but he didn't. But Messi's, he's staying there. He's always, Barca rarely have a bad season, right? In terms of like not qualifying for the Champions League or, getting far in major tournaments.
Yeah, but that's because the competition in the league is so weak. Personally.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
Yeah, I get that, but you can't put that on Messi. Like he can't say that's his fault. Like
but he must
Ronaldo's been there and done the same.
He must look at Ronaldo and think, maybe I should go somewhere else and win the league.
Yeah, but Messi's got more Ballon d'Ors as well, so he's going. Hang on, I am technically the better player.
Yeah, but this is only just as of recent. Because Ronaldo hadn't had the best of season last year because he was still adapting to the way Italy play.
What do you mean he didn't have a good season, Reece? He scored 30 goals for Juve in his first season. He's 34.
He's good as what others would have. He's 34,
And he won the Nations League for Portugal.
It's a fair point, but as of last year, personally, Messi had the better season. But I agree with what you two said. If Messi went on and played in other countries, such as the Prem, Italy, or even the Bundesliga, I probably would have swayed more to Messi's side, saying that, or Messi is slightly better because he's adapting.
Put it this way, right? I'd be very confident that my 2008 Man United team would beat Messi's Barcelona right now, comfortably.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'll agree with that because I don't know whether you agree with this, but I, personally, since 2016, before Neymar left, I think they've got weaker.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, Iniesta
hasn't.
They're going through that transitional kind of thing, and I guess they're calling it a transitional phase, but yeah. It's a close debate. For me, it is the multiple country things which sways it in the most for me. But
for me, it's the fact that he's done it in 3 countries. He's done it for Portugal as well, and that's pretty much the main focus of it. It's just a machine. His numbers just keep churning and churning. I'd meet Ronaldo, but then I'm a United fan, so I go Ronaldo anyway. So let's have a little recap. Hands up for Ronaldo. Perfect. Cristiano.
Ooh.
All right, so we'll move on to the second topic. If we run out of time, I might have to do a short third video. So, so we'll try not to keep you on this all day. But so the second one, very simple. Who was your sporting hero, icon? Who was your kind of sporting football person you looked up to that got you into playing football, or you really looked up to, or like why you played your certain position, or what? Or you could have maybe 1 or 2 or whatever. So, who wants to go first?
I went first for the last one, so.
Jamie, you go first and mate.
Reece, you want to go first? Is it Tony Hibbert?
Is it Yakubu?
No.
Stephen Pienaar?
Stephen Pienaar's a shout, but no.
Let me guess. Tim Cahill.
Leon
Tim
Osman.
Cahill was. Tim Cahill was one of them.
Oh my god.
Good player.
Another one was a defender. You'd like to guess?
El Jagielka.
No, Jagielka's a shout, but no.
Are they Everton players? Do they play for Everton?
Yep, still plays now.
Okay. Oh, Leighton Baines.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Leighton Baines.
Good player.
Go on, Reece. Let's hear it.
What's the thing with your 2 teams? You had the likes of Gareth Bale. You Jamie, you've got Ronaldo and all that. Without sounding too negative on my team, we've got a lot worse players.
My player never played for my team.
It doesn't have to be someone that played for your team, though, Reece.
Yeah.
It just pick someone who, when you were growing up, you really looked up to.
All right, that's fine then. But yeah, I'll stick with what I went for.
Muppet.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Tim Cahill and all that, because again, it was my team. Pretty much way that their style of play was completely different, and considering that the first game that I can remember playing, I was playing in defence. I liked watching the way like Leighton Baines played because even though he played it simple all the time, it worked effectively. Because back in the days, we were actually solid defensively, unlike we are now. And
oh dear,
this is just more shots at my team. But yeah, the fact that he's a world-class player, and that he's all round he was a solid free kick taker when he took them. 9 times out of 10, they'd fly into the back of the net.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, good penalty ratio as well. I think he had
9 times out of 10. Reece, his free kicks go in. All right, I'm going to find the start of how many free kicks he's taken, and we'll see how many goals he's got. 9 times out of 10. Do you want to retract that quickly before you look silly?
Yes.
Maybe
oh
3.
my god. Anyway, carry on, Reece.
I'm just saying what the ratio was.
Don't worry about the ratio. Just carry on.
Yeah, don't worry about that. It's a lot lower.
You didn't even have to research that for that to be told.
No, I have. But
anyway, carry on.
Yeah, it was one of those players that just played it the way football should be played. He weren't doing like any stupid stuff like ditching right back off and then just putting in crosses left, right, centre like Trent does now. He was one of those players that liked to sit back, help the defence, and just play it simple the way football was. And now, as the years go on, the way football has done, it has adapted quite a lot.
No, I can't disagree. I think those 2 players were.
Sorry, I'm listening to you.
Good.
I'm just keeping my eyes shut. So carry on.
thought you were trying to say I was talking nonsense then.
No. Keep going about Sir Leighton Baines.
I mean, some class as club legend. He's been there since 2007. He's played 411 games, bagged 38 goals. He's won Everton Player of the Year twice. And yet again, like, he's just one of those class players that just stick with one club.
Does he? Because he came from Wigan, so that's 2 clubs.
He's stuck with a club for a long period of time, is what I meant to say.
So tell me,
trying to look stupid.
So why did you base your game on his then? What inspired you?
Well, what inspired me was
By not being very
the
good?
first game that I can remember. Funny.
He's a goalie now.
Yeah, I'm a goalie now.
Hence why you converted, because you watch Baines too much.
Nah, but I was a defender to start with from the first game that I remember. So basing it off any defenders, I'd probably say Leighton Baines is probably the better player out of them all. I mean, if you look at our defence, Distan, Phil Jagielka was decent. Coleman. And, I mean, our best defender now is Luca Dean. But we won't go on to that because our defence is a shambles. But,
Reece, basically, to sum up, why did Leighton Baines inspire you? What did you like about him?
Well, it's like I said earlier on in the thing. Like, he just played it simple, pretty much. Played it simple, effectively, and just...
So did you take that into your games as a defender?
Yes, I did.
And that's why you lost a lot of games and converted to a keeper?
No, I then converted to a centre mid.
Oh, my God. Anyone else?
Gradually went further up the pitch and then converted to a goalkeeper.
Anyone else, Reece, that's inspired you playing, like you looked up to?
If I'd say to a goalkeeper,
Please don't say Tim Howard.
Doesn't have to be from Everton.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but Tim Howard would be one.
Oh, dear. Carry on.
Obviously, Neuer would be one. Because back in his prime, back in like his Schalke days and like very early Bayern days, he was...
Yeah, agreed.
He was the best keeper
wasn't very good for
ever
Schalke.
grace the earth.
Wasn't very good for Schalke when we put 4 past him in the semi-finals of the Champions League, was he?
Yeah, but he also had some really good games against you as well.
Has he?
I'm pretty sure he has.
Has he? You sure?
The scoreline could have been a lot worse if it weren't for Neuer, put it that way.
Yeah, and it was Schalke. Schalke weren't exactly like the bee's knees.
The strongest.
Didn't they have Ozil at the time?
They had Ozil in his like young days.
It's before my football knowledge.
Oh yeah,
back
sorry.
in 2000.
Pre-Declan Rice. Anyway, Reece, carry on.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, we can go on about that discussion if you want.
Well, we're not going on about Declan Rice, Reece. Anyway,
so pretty much.
So Neuer and Bain.
Yep.
Wow.
Not really. I mean, Neuer, when he was in his prime, was the best keeper in the world. And that's how everyone wanted to adapt. That's who every keeper wanted to adapt off.
I will admit...
That's fair. I think that's a very good point.
I will admit, when Pep was at Bayern, he made Neuer into a better keeper because he played that sweeper keeper role.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
I mean, he even done that before that as well, because I don't even remember the goal that, I don't know who it was, the Inter person scored from the halfway line after Manuel Neuer's sweep.
No, I do not remember that.
It was. Just search up halfway line volley goal, whatever it was for Inter.
No.
Was it defender? I can't remember.
It was a midfielder. I'm pretty sure.
All right, let's
Was
sum
it?
up.
Oh yeah, carry on.
So, Leighton Baines
Yeah.
and Neuer are your inspirations.
Yep.
Elliot?
Wow. I mean, they've inspired me, to be honest.
I know.
When I first started playing when I was 6 or 7, I was a striker, so probably like at the time, Henri was banging in goals. Anyone who was banging in goals at the time, really. Ronaldo was scoring goals. David Villa for Spain was on fire. I think at the time I want to say he was at Valencia, but I'm not sure on that. But then when we moved to 11-a-side, I became a centre mid, and that's when this man, Mr. Andre Pirlo, was like, I say this is going to sound really weird. I'm going to use the word obsessed, but I was literally like, loved watching him play. I think he just like, the way he moved around the pitch, he glided around the pitch. He was so like elegant in what he did. His passing stats are next level.
No Pirlo, no party.
Exactly.
Have you not heard of that?
Nope.
Google it.
I think we were going to talk about our like footballing moments. I think we might do that in the future, but one of them, it's going to sound really weird as an England fan, but he scored a Panenka in the Euros versus England. And
Reece,
for me, I watched that and I thought,
Reece, are you accepting this, mate? He's dissing England.
but to do
I'm not accepting that it's in England, but it was a good penalty. He was
Reece,
the best player on the
Reece,
pitch
mate,
that day.
Thank
Reece, get off the fence. Get off the fence.
I really like
and
this
pick a
kid.
side.
Oh, I think
there's
to
two
watch
ways to
him
it,
do it was unbelievable. Obviously, if it was anyone else, obviously other than England, you'd probably be like, "Oh yeah, that was a."
I remember watching that.
Like,
I remember watching that game in a pub.
and you probably went for a war or something. But...
No, I just thought to myself, same old England.
Yeah. But for him to do that on that stage was, it was amazing to watch, and especially I literally would watch YouTube highlights of the games that he played for Italy or for Juventus. My squad number, I'd always pick 21 for my shirts because he wore 21. It's also the date of my birthday. But
you're getting a bit obsessive now,
mate. You're talking about inspirations. He gave you Tim Howard because he had a good trim, and Leighton Baines because he scored 8 out of 10 free kicks.
Oh dear.
And yeah, probably if I had to choose a Spurs player, I really liked Van der Vaart when he was at the club. I think it was a little bit different.
Raphael, I remember him.
Yeah, he wasn't in his prime when he came to Spurs, but having watched when he was at Spurs, having watched what he did, like he was sensational. Obviously, Bale was amazing, but I never played out wide. Not blessed with the most pace. So yeah, my main one is Andre Pirlo, and my Spurs is probably Raphael van der Vaart when I move into the centre of the park.
I can categorically say they're better than Reese's. Do you want to hear mine, or have you got anything to add to that? Reece, have you got anything to add to Andre Pirlo or anything, or?
Not really, apart from like he's a class player, really.
Yeah, he was.
He was class. I'll give him that. He's a classy player. And although he didn't turn up for the Champions League final against Barcelona, did he, a couple of years ago?
No, agreed. No.
Yeah. I think I would agree with you. I think he was a great player. I think he was slightly underrated, but I think that was because Iniesta
totally agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Here's a question for you. Who would you have in your midfield? You can only pick two. Iniesta, Scholes, or Pirlo? You can only pick two.
Oh. Well, I know you're going to say Scholes going high.
You're going to say
every
Scholes
day of the
100%.
week, Pirlo and Iniesta. Easy. No doubt.
That's a really tough one, actually.
I would pick Scholes and Iniesta. But that's just...
I'd go...
But I think Scholes was underrated like Pirlo.
Yeah, no, Scholes was underrated.
I think, to be honest, you two are probably slightly too young to remember Scholes in his prime.
Yeah, no.
That's the problem.
The last... he didn't score in a Manchester derby in the red with the black.
Yeah, and he got a kiss from Gary Neville.
That was probably around that time was when I would have remembered Scholesy playing. So
I think
way past his peak.
You two are way too young to remember Scholesy peak. So that's
in my lifetime, Iniesta and Pirlo for me.
I'll have to agree with that.
Mine Scholes and Iniesta, but that's because you two are too young to remember Scholesy. Anything to add to Pirlo? Or Van der Vaart?
Van der Vaart, another underrated name, I think.
Yeah, I think he was.
As I said, he wasn't in his prime when he came to Spurs, but he
played really well.
He was sensational to watch. Yeah, so good to watch. Modric as well, I guess, similar to. He kind of found himself a little bit before he moved on. Was a good player to watch. Good engine, but
I think
those two mainly.
Yeah, no, I think they're decent players. I think Andre Pirlo, obviously, because the thing is, I've got an uncle who lives in America, just outside Washington DC. So my MLS team is DC United. So I watch the MLS quite often, and I watched Pirlo when he was at New York as well.
Yeah,
and I've also got a coach out there, who's a good friend of mine, who did support New York City FC. So we used to talk about it regularly, and I don't think he particularly played very well there, Pirlo, in MLS, but I think that was probably just his last song.
age.
Yeah. Because he was with Lampard.
But still, he would get on the ball there, and like I've watched some of those, and everything looks so easy. Like he doesn't look like he breaks a sweat doing anything. He's just there,
he makes it look effortless.
But I think with the argument with the MLS New York team though is they play at Yankee Stadium. They don't play at an actual football stadium. The travelling is unreal when you've got to travel from one side of the country to the other to play a game. So I think we've probably got to bear that in mind. So that's All right, do you want to hear my two? You'd probably laugh.
Are they the players we know?
Yeah, of course they are. Not
that. I think one.
I'm not
Phil Jones, one of them.
I think one might be Ronaldo.
One will be Ronaldo.
We're talking about when you're playing or like now?
No, when I was growing up.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So
I'm trying to think of some really old Man United players.
So obviously, I'm a little bit older than both of you, and obviously that shows when I've coached both of you.
You put our ages together, we're still younger. Oh, no, we're not. No, we're not. That's an absolute lie. No. I'm
nearly
10 years though. Okay, sorry. My bad.
Oh dear. So how old are you, Elliot? You're 20, aren't you?
I'm 20 now, yeah.
And you're 17, Reece, aren't you?
And I'm 17.
So I'm pretty much 13 years older than Reece and pretty much 10 years older than you, Elliot. So, painfully. So, my first one is an obvious one. And I've done it based on when I was growing up. It's kind of the position I was playing in as well. Obviously, I've gone for the team I supported. Obviously. And that is Paul Scholes. I think he was an absolute magician. An absolute wizard. Now, I'm a bit like you, Elliot. I wasn't blessed with pace either. Fitness was decent when I was playing. I wasn't lagging in fitness, but I could dribble with the ball, no problem. But I wasn't one to take on players. I was kind of a one-trick pony, a little step over or two, and that was it. So I was more of a player of get on the ball and spraying balls across. That was kind of the type of player I was. I wasn't blessed with pace, so there was no point in me taking on a player. I wasn't great with my head either, so there was no point in me, being a number 10 or number 9. Number 9, a forward. But I was kind of more, centre mid, spraying balls about, maybe attacking midfielder, getting onto the ball. Oh my God, we've got 10 minutes ago. We might have to do another one. So Paul Scholes, if you watch Scholes in his prime, I loved him. I'm more of a passer of the ball, like creating space for people, spraying balls into space. I'm not, like I said, I'm not one to take on a player. And Scholesy prime, oh God. How that man hasn't got 100 England caps is unreal, because unfortunately we had to accommodate Steven Gerrard and Lampard, and Scholes got stuck out on the left and Sven-Göran Eriksson. So what it should have been was Scholes in the middle with one of the other two, with Michael Carrick sat as the holding midfielder. That's a different argument. So, God knows how Scholes didn't get 100 England caps. Shocking, to be honest. Absolute suicidal how he didn't get 100 England caps. When you've got players like Zidane, Figo, when he was playing, all saying that he was the best in his position at the time, there's obviously something about him. And I remember Scholes' last ever Man United appearance was the 2011 Champions League final at Wembley, where we got absolutely humiliated again by Barcelona. And it came out that, and Iniesta came out in an interview and said that the Barcelona players had actually, they had to do like some sort of competition, like rock, paper, scissors or something, because they all wanted Paul Scholes' shirt at the end of the game. So that must tell you something. If the likes of Iniesta, Messi, Xavi want his shirt, and he was that good that he retired at Man United and then came back the following season and won the title with us. When he retired, gutted, and then the half the season that he wasn't with us, that was completely what we missed. And the fact that he came back in the Manchester Derby, an FA Cup game, and he ran the midfield and we won that game just shows how good he was. And when everyone says, and I say this now, the current United team has missed a Scholes player massively. You cannot say that Paul Pogba is a Scholes because that's not right at all. They're two different players.
It's like saying Barkley and Declan Rice are the same player.
No, they're playing centre mid. And and the fact that Bruno Fernandes is probably the closest we've had to Paul Scholes. So Paul Scholes is for me. And the second one, you might laugh at this. It's a similar position. And also, the last bit on Scholes, he had to adapt his game. Obviously, his age was going against him. So he was attacking midfielder, but then he dropped to being a holding midfielder, just spraying balls across. So, and again, he was a one-club man, wasn't interested in going anywhere else. So, Paul Scholes was my big inspiration when I was growing up. That was what I based my game on. My second one, you might laugh at this, but when Roy Keane left Man United in 2005, because he had an argument with a lot of the players, and Sir Alex Ferguson just thought, no, can't have this anymore. We were crying out for a midfielder type of position. And as soon as this man came into the club, we won the title that year. And we won 3 titles in a row. And it was Michael Carrick. I think Michael Carrick was absolutely class at United. And actually, his last season at Tottenham, I thought that's when he started really pushing on. And he went to the 2006 World Cup and he played in 2 or 3 games where he sat in the holding role while Gerrard and Lampard went forward and we dominated the game. God knows why we didn't play Michael Carrick more in that role because we would have won something, I believe. I believe Michael Carrick should get 100 England caps like Scholes. I think it's suicidal that James Milner's got more England caps than Michael Carrick. I think it's absolute disaster that he's got more England caps than Michael Carrick. There's a famous radio presenter on TalkSport. I don't know if you two listen to TalkSport. It's Adrian Durham, and I don't agree with a lot. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says, but even he says Michael Carrick should have over 100 England caps. He's the type of player that just is no nonsense. He picks up the ball, sprays it forward. He's not a backwards and sideways man. He gets the ball so simple, sideways, forward, plays it simple. He tackles. He does the job. And as I was getting older, so when Scholes was retiring, I based a lot of my game on Michael Carrick as well. Just simple, get the ball out of feet, get it forward. And he didn't get loads and loads of goals for United, but he did the job. He just sat there. He sat and let other players do the job, and he was so effective. And when we had Scholes and Carrick playing together in that 2008 season, I think we only lost 3 or 4 games the whole season. That's including Champions League, Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup. And that surely tells you something about Michael Carrick signing. And I remember where I was when Carrick signed. I was in America. I was in a hotel and I was sat in the lobby on their computer looking at BBC Sport and it said Michael Carrick is signed. And I thought, yes, get in there. Number 16, Michael Carrick. So he was my inspiration, Michael Carrick. I think anyone who argues that Carrick made a difference in that United team is deluded. I think he should have had 100 England caps easily. And they were the two I based my game on. Like I said, I'm a bit like you, Elliot. I wasn't blessed with pace. I was an attacking midfielder type, but then when I got older and fatter, I then dropped back and then kind of did the Carrick role as well. So nice and effective. So we've only got 3 minutes. So do you two want to counter that? Any mine or?
No, I don't think so. I think we've all picked players who maybe have been overlooked at some point in their career. Yeah.
So you two not going to laugh at Carrick or Scholes then?
No,
how can we laugh at when there's someone that you,
Considering you both thought I was going to pick Ronaldo.
Yeah, but maybe
I've picked players who played in my position, who I thought were effective for the team to play. That's how I've picked mine.
Yeah. Well, you weren't going to pick Gerrard, were you? Let's be realistic. I'm surprised maybe like a Keane or a who else was decent in midfield back?
Like maybe an Iniesta or a Xavi or something like that, or a Kaká or.
But then that's maybe a different argument. A foreign-based player you maybe got inspired by as well. Maybe that's a different argument. Right, we're going to end it because I don't want us to get bombed off. So basically, Ronaldo's the best. Reece looks up to Leighton Baines. Elliot, yours is decent, Perlo, and mine's Scholes and Carrick because I'm slightly older. Deary me, Reece.
That is correct.
All right, boys, stay safe.
Sweet, you too. See you soon.
You too.
All right.
See ya. Bye.
Cheers.
How do